What's up, believers? Welcome to another episode of Make Us Believe, a wrestling podcast by fans for fans. I am one of your hosts, Michael,
And I'm your other host, John.
and we are coming to you now with basically the go home episode. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, taking a little bit of break. Um, and yeah, what has happened so far? Elephant in the room. Post WrestleMania, they released some people, right? They released a lot of people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You might have
I,
might have
I
heard us talking about some of it.
You might have heard us talking about some of this, and not to toot our own horn, but I will say this: before the official lists did go out, we had recorded that last episode. So if you haven't gone back and listened to it, go back and listen to it, guys. We called out probably about we predicted about like half of the people that are going to get future endeavored. And I'm not, it sucks whenever that happens. I'm not saying that that we're happy that it happened.
Not at all.
Um, but I'm glad to know that we at least kind of it makes us seem like we know what we're talking about, right,
We
John?
can we
Like,
can read the script. Yeah, we can see the
yeah,
writing on the wall. That's all. We're
yeah,
never happy about
yeah,
somebody losing their job, but we are happy that we could at least kind of see what's going on before it actually happens. That's all we're
yeah.
saying.
And some of them pissed me off. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Um, some of them were, almost inevitable, and some of them were just kind of head scratchy. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. We've moved on, and now we're in where we're in. So yeah, you want to go through at least kind of what our thoughts were on those releases, John? What
Yeah,
are
I
you
mean,
seeing? What are you thinking? What do you got?
well, I'll say, obviously with everything going on right now, pretty quick turnaround post WrestleMania. I'd
Mm,
say, we called a lot of these the Wyatt Six. Again, to reiterate what I was saying in the last episode, I loved Bray Wyatt. I like a lot of the people in the faction. I think it's just really difficult to get over a tribute faction. They came in really strong. The interest was high. And then there's just only so much you can do with a faction like that. And just like Bray, they didn't get a proper push either. But I think even if they did, this would have fallen flat. It's just the only person who can get that gimmick over to me is Bray. And Bray had trouble because the booking wasn't backing him. So I thought that this was a nice sentiment, but it needed to happen. Like this faction not only was in the dirt for most of its life, but anybody who feuded with them kind of got dragged down rather than them getting dragged up. So, I feel bad about it. I part of me wishes they would have kept Bo Dallas and just changed his gimmick and given him another shot, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't think most people are upset about this. Like I said, most of us love Bray. Doesn't mean you have to love the faction that was a tribute to him. I know that sounds bad on paper, but if it's not working, it's not working. I'm glad they got to do it. But yeah, to me, as far as those cuts, I understood it and I didn't really have an issue with it. Um, and then we got people like Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. I might have said this on the last episode. I like Aleister Black, but to me, he's one of those guys that peaked in NXT. He couldn't get over his first run on the main roster. He couldn't get over on AEW, and then he came back to WWE main roster and he couldn't get himself over. It didn't help that they booked him to do the exact same sort of shtick that Karrion Kross was doing before he got fired, sort of trying to
yeah,
turn people, to the dark side. Like he literally came in with his wife, just like Karrion Kross, and trying to do like this dark, turn you dark kind of thing. And I think it would have gotten like there were some rumors that they were thinking about having Aleister Black sort of partner up with Randy Orton instead of Pat McAfee, like he's the guy on the phone. I thought that would have been interesting if it holds any validity. But overall, Aleister Black, like I said, I liked him in NXT a lot. It's a shame, but at some point when you have three chances on two different companies and you can't get over, at some point you kind of got to look at the wrestler and be like, well, maybe it's him. I kind of feel the same way about Rusev, even though he wasn't technically in NXT. But then we have Zelina Vega. I've I think she's a 10 when it comes to looks. Like she's super hot, but and she is talented, but she never really got a good push either. They never really knew what to do with her. So I think that's a valid cut too. Kyrie Sane. There's a lot of rumors that she just wanted to go back to Japan. And honestly, I wasn't really crazy about anything that they were doing with, you know, the the former, I guess Kabuki faction slash Damage Control, Japanese female wrestlers. But they weren't really good. Like that story was going on for months leading up to WrestleMania, and it didn't even get a spot on WrestleMania, which shows you what they thought
Yeah,
about it. So why are we
yeah,
going to think anything more of it? Um, so it is what it is for her too. Motor City Machine Guns. It kind of hurts me a little bit. Obviously, I'm a Motor City boy myself, and I love them. I love them in TNA, Ring of Honor. They've done a lot of things, a lot of different places. I've always been a big fan. They've been around for a long time. They never really seemed like a real natural fit in WWE to me. But I'm glad they at least got a title run. Add that to their resume. They've had great careers. But yeah, that's another one. Like, as much as I want them to push the tag team division. Um, they just kind of didn't it just didn't seem like the right spot for them. I don't know why. I don't know if there could have been more that was done there, but I'm at least glad that they got the opportunity. uh Santos Escobar is probably the one that hurts the most. I thought this guy always had great potential. I never thought he was given much of a booking effort on the main roster. He just seems like he's got all the charisma in the world. He's super talented in the ring, and he's kind of another one that unfortunately looks like he peaked in NXT. I loved him in Lucha Underground. I know that like I always bring it up somehow, but he was awesome in Lucha Underground too. He's just I don't know, he's just a really talented guy. I kind of always felt like he was everything that they wanted Andrade to be, but he still couldn't get it over either. But so I mean that one sucks for me, but they when was the last time he did anything significant? Again, really probably never on the main roster. So I get that too. Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, Apollo Crews, those are ones that, I didn't even know Zoe Stark was still on the roster. Alba Fire was just, Chelsea's sidekick, easily expendable. And yeah,
yeah.
Apollo Crews, he's the one who's super talented in the ring, but he just never really had the character to get himself over. And I'm not mad about that either. But I think we could both agree that the one that really does hurt the most is and it wasn't technically a release. It seems like it was more of a mutual
I,
parting.
this is
Was
gonna. It hurts. It
Yeah,
hurts.
I know, but
Just say it. Just say it. It hurts.
unfortunately, it is a New Day. Yes, it is just not in WWE anymore, as the New Day have departed WWE. From what I understand, is they're obviously very decorated tag team. You could argue easily that they're the best tag team of all time. Um, so they were getting paid pretty well, and TKO wanted them to lower what they're paying them because they're not doing much with them right now, which they haven't been. Like they turned them heel and you know pushed them very briefly, and then kind of forgot about them. So I understand the mutual parting. I even sadly understand them wanting to take less money if they're not going to do anything with them. I just wish they would have done more with them. They're the New Day. They
Yeah.
what they could do because they've done it. Like they're obviously capable of doing great things. They've done a lot of great things, and I thought the new gimmick had a lot of potential. With them going heel, and they just didn't really do anything with it. So that sucks. I feel like they're probably AEW bound, which will honestly, like I've been thinking about giving AEW another shot. I think if New Day goes there, that'll be the final straw. I'll have to check out, probably a month worth of episodes to see if I can get back into it. And I've watched a little bit, like probably not even like a full episode, but I'll turn on a little here and there. Um, yeah, New Day going over would probably be a big splash for them. I just feel like New Day is going to be valuable to any other company now. Um, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, what are your thoughts on these recent departures, the post WrestleMania cuts?
Pretty much the same. Like New Day hurts the most, and that's just.
For
I
sure,
know
for
that's the
sure.
nostalgia kicking and stuff, but realistically, like you would be hard pressed to find a better tag team that like legitimately gelled and had that chemistry um in like the modern era. Like they are one of the greatest tag teams of all time, period. And they're almost I would almost put them in like the Mount Rushmore of the modern era as far as tag teams go. Um, and it's for no fault of their own, right? Like they didn't get booked, so they weren't on TV, and because they weren't on TV, they're being asked to take pay cuts. But that's not their fault, you know. Like you
Yeah,
couldn't do anything with them. Like you have it right there in your hands, right? Like you have the work of art, and if you don't choose to hang it up on the wall, well, then that's on you. You know, that's not on the work of art. That's not its problem. It's your
correct.
problem. So you can't sit there and say, well, now I want half of the money back because you're not putting it on the wall. Like that's not fair,
Right, right. I totally
you
agree.
know.
It's like they
So
don't want their tag teams to succeed.
yeah, and it's kind of like that around across the board, right? So like if TKO is coming in with a new business strategy and trying to save money by slashing salaries and make more money by increasing ticket rates that are going up and stuff. Like we're getting new brand advertisement deals that are happening that are leading into more disjointed shows, more branded content, more ads throughout all of the shows, even the ones
Yep.
that, are everything is premium now. Like you would expect commercials and ads on normal TV, but now it's all on streaming services and stuff. You're still paying a premium, you're still getting ads, more so than TV sometimes. And they're giving themselves hella raises as far as the C-suites and stuff goes, you know? And I'm
Yeah.
like, you it's not fair to be asking your talent to take like half the money so you can give yourself a raise and then still be making money hand over fist with all of these brand endorsements and everything else that you're doing. So it's just a shitty business strategy. And I think it might translate to boxing, it might translate to UFC, but it doesn't translate well to wrestling. And I mean, eventually it's going to bite him in the ass. It just
Yeah.
is. And
No,
unfortunately, I don't know what happens then is WWE going to become unwatchable at some point? Like I've, questioned before, or is it just going to be like it goes down and they actually kill WWE? Like eventually, like are these practices just going to, basically do what Time Warner did to WCW? Not that aggressively and not with that same intent, but
R.I.P.
ultimately
Ted
the
Turner,
same
by the
thing.
way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, TKO
So
has taken Greed to the next level without a doubt.
yeah,
You could see
it
it everywhere. Like you said,
yeah,
between advertising and cuts that they don't need to make, they're making more money than they've ever made now. Um, so
yeah,
like
and
that,
they've touted that. Like on the
yeah,
thing, they on SmackDown, right? Like a couple of weeks ago, they even like their things were going over WrestleMania. They put in one of the quotes was one of the highest grossing events in WWE history.
yeah. Like, why
And
do
I'm
we
like,
care
yeah,
about that? Like,
yeah, I don't
that's
give
for
a
the
shit how much
shareholders.
money
Yeah,
you made. Yeah, like that's a stockholder thing. You put that in the private investor
yeah,
portfolio presentation. That shit on the TV so I can see it. It's like I don't care how much you made. And yeah, it's
yeah,
easy to make money when you're charging out the ass for the tickets. Of course you're going to make ticket.
yeah.
You're going to make more money.
And
So
by the
I
way,
give them that.
I am a shareholder. I have stocks. I would much rather that those stocks deplete a little bit and give me a better product. I will say though, quick caveat, I do think business is picking up a little bit post WrestleMania. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's where I want it to be, but the build up to WrestleMania just seemed lost. Even though the turnover's been pretty quick and some of these stories are happening fast to get the backlash, I am picking up more interest now. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, man, like they've taken the 4 weeks, the 1 month or whatever, the build up, the time that they
Hmm.
had between WrestleMania and Backlash, and have actually established storylines leading into Backlash, the way that a PLE is supposed to be done, that I'm way more interested in than any of the builds almost from WrestleMania. Like
Yeah.
they had 2.5 months, something like that, to build WrestleMania. What three? Yeah, almost 2.5, 3 months to build matches for WrestleMania, and they did dick with it. They did
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
And now 1 month in, post WrestleMania, between WrestleMania and Backlash, and already the storylines have more substance, and I have more interest in them. So I'm like, you guys can do it. So now you're just literally showing off the fact that you were trying to gouge money out of people for the biggest show of the year. Like that's all
Yeah.
that's telling us. All right, so
Yeah.
real quick, I do have some issues because I actually did some math on this. So that highest grossing thing got me because I was like, this is garbage. You're putting on a garbage thing and you're claiming it's highest grossing. And it was the highest grossing, but it was the highest grossing despite having lower attendance for the same event in the same venue a year later, right? So the attendance at WrestleMania 41 in Vegas was the overall for the 2 days was 124,693 versus 106,072 at WrestleMania 42, which makes a difference of 18,621. So the estimated crowd size at Raw in the T-Mobile Center or arena is about 12,500. Like that's what you can estimate. That's about what they put on last time, and what the average is about 12,500 seats get allocated for the ring, and that's that whole setup. So
Okay.
that means where I'm getting with this. That means that the empty seats at WrestleMania, the difference between those, the empty seats at WrestleMania 42 could have filled the T-Mobile Arena for Raw about 1.5 times.
Jeez, oh
Like
man.
just let that sink in, dude. The T-Mobile Arena could have been filled 1.5 times with the amount of empty seats
Well, that's
that were
nuts.
the difference between this year's WrestleMania and last year's WrestleMania, and that was
Yeah, that's
literally
nuts.
the same exact venue just a year later, and it still made more money. So where did the money come from?
No,
Like you have to ask
I'm
yourself that.
glad I'm glad they took a hit on that, because whether they're whether they're flaunting it to us or not, or exposing us to this or not, they're embarrassed by that. Like, as greedy as this company is now, or TKO is anyway, that makes them sick, because they cut a lot of corners to make more money, and they almost certainly did with advertising. But the fact that
Yeah,
you have that many people who showed up to the same venue last year and not this year, I mean, that was a lazy approach. Do it the same spot as last year. Why would you do that? It just doesn't even make sense.
yeah. And I mean, I get it is a good venue, and it's like I'm not gonna say centrally located, but Vegas is a good place to be located for that. There's hella hotels around, like it makes sense.
Yeah.
And on paper, yeah, it was great. But then you do an absolute shit build with terrible advertising and stuff like that, and then you jack up the prices and nobody wants to buy your stuff. So then you have to go publicly create you have to interject that into the main storylines of WrestleMania, the fact that you're being greedy, and then you have to put tickets on sale for your WrestleMania, for your biggest show of the year, literally a week before, so you can try and fill those seats at least a little bit. Like that's insane
That
to
is
me.
insane. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I hope they're embarrassed. I'm like, yeah, you made some money out of this, but I hope that you're embarrassed. And I hope that there's other people like me who sit here and don't just look at the headline that there was the highest grossing, but take the 5 minutes on Google or whatever to research it and jump in and do dive into the numbers a little bit, because it
Yeah.
tells you the story that, yeah, they had less people and made more money. That means that they gouged us, guys. They gouged us.
Well, they
And that's
gouged us, and they
what
got a
AO's
lot of this
going to
money from
do.
corporations for advertising, and not from people who came
Yep.
to want to support the product. And that's what should speak, that's what should be concerning to them, because without that audience, the advertisers aren't going to be as interested, or they can't charge as much for the advertising. So,
Uh,
I do think it's going to hopefully motivate them to give us more, because if that WrestleMania showed me anything, it's that they are, if this is as successful as they think it can be, they're not going to care about us at all, and we're going to go back into a dark age. The fact that they had that many less people this year, like I said, you can't sustain that with advertisers. And if your goal is just to be like, okay, well, we have less people there, but we're making more money off the advertisements, well, that's not going to stick around if the people don't stick around.
yeah, because you literally had 18,500 less people show up to your event. That's crazy for the
Yeah.
big, like for the Super Bowl of wrestling. you had that many less people than you had last year. Like
Right.
it's insane. It's insane to me.
Yeah, but
Sorry to go
I
off on
love
that
it. I love
tangent.
it. No, no, no. That,
Yeah,
like I said, that's good. It's good to know. It's good information to have. And like I said, it's good that it was at least a failure in that area for WWE, because they should be
yeah,
more
no,
motivated to give us a better product now. And like I said, it's
yeah,
starting to show. Like I said, this is a quick build for Backlash, and
hmm
I mean, really, the road to WrestleMania starts as the road to the Royal Rumble happens, and they were in a lull that entire period. It actually looks like they're starting to buckle down, and I have more hope now than I did before.
yeah, same here. And like I was like I said, I was very much looking forward to Backlash even before WrestleMania happened because I was like, cool, you're getting all the glitz and glamour out of the way. Now you're going to be able to focus back on the stories and, pushing the wrestlers and focusing on the content right there rather than celebrities and all the other crap. They're still going to show up, but that's not going to be the focal point.
Right.
And now we're seeing it, with this build to Backlash this Saturday coming up. Like it's been a solid build. And I'm also encouraged at the fact of like what this means for SummerSlam,
Hmm.
what it could possibly mean for Survivor Series. I don't have a lot of hope for Survivor Series, just because it's kind of
It's
wish-washy, or at least has
it's
been.
it's always my least favorite of the big four.
Yeah. But like all of the PLEs in between those, like it looks like I at least have a little bit of hope that those builds are going to happen, and they kind of got their head out their ass a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry to go into that deep dive on that stuff too, guys. Fun fact about me, I'm a data nerd. So whenever I can, like, kind of like dig into facts and numbers and stuff like that, I probably will. So, it's just literally something I do for my downtime because I'm a nerd. Um, yeah, is what it is. Um, yeah, going back to what we were originally talking about with all the releases, um, if Kyrie left to go be like spend more time with her family, no issue with that whatsoever. I wish her all the best. I miss Kyrie because she is a great in-ring talent, but I do agree that they weren't doing anything with her. And if it's the choice of I'm gonna sit here and like sacrifice my body for pushes and for a character development that is literally gonna make me look like a weeping sidekick
Oh yeah, I know.
versus being able to just be at home with my family full time instead of being on the road 300 days a year. Like, yeah, I would probably take the family time too. Like they weren't doing
Yeah.
her any favors, and it sucks that it broke up that storyline, but realistically, they'd been building that storyline for months, and where the hell was it going? Like they
Right.
hadn't done anything other than make her look progressively weaker.
I
So,
agree. I do wish they would have let her, like, or at least convinced her to stay long enough to finish the story, because obviously that was going to lead to her turning on Asuka eventually,
yeah,
or Asuka turning on her, and then them having a feud. And you could have kind of, it would have been nice to have that finish out, because now she just kind of leaves, like, like you said, like a whimpering little bitch, like, so
yeah,
like it's a shitty way to exit for somebody who's had a decent amount of success within WWE. So it is what it is, though. Like I said, it seems like that was maybe more her decision, so you got to respect it.
yeah. Every other uh release, like it wasn't really surprising, I guess. That like Kyrie and New Day were the biggest ones for me. I'm with you. I love Aleister Black in the ring. He's super technically sound, and his martial arts background, the fact that he's able to incorporate that and still be safe with it as a wrestler, like it makes for some devastating ass shit in the ring. Like his Black Mass, if you just really look at it, like he's spin kicking somebody in the face, right? Like if you're looking at the kayfabe aspect of that fact, people get knocked the fuck out in the UFC for way
Oh
less.
yeah,
I know
absolutely.
I'm sorry that I'm swearing so heavily this bit, but I'm like he literally like the stuff he does in the ring is amazing, and it's visually stunning. It's so good, but that'll only take you so far. Like like you said, he has not been able to get off the ground in either of his WWE main roster appearances or his AEW stuff. Like I thought he was gonna, clean house over there. And no, they floundered with him. And I don't know if it's just people don't know how to book him, or if he's like secretly kind of difficult to work with or whatever. Like I don't know.
I
But
think he
yeah, there's
probably
just
needed a
something about
character
it.
change.
I think so. But then it's like it's Aleister Black. Like, how do you look at Aleister Black or Malachi Black or whatever and see anything other than that character though?
I
Like
mean
how much
that's
can you
their
change
job,
that character? And yeah, yeah.
because
So I
it
don't know.
wasn't working, right? Like, and we both acknowledge like he's a good wrestler. He's got
Yeah.
a good character. Like he can make things work, but yeah, I don't think that character or that version of him was getting over. So yeah, you should have definitely, I don't know, maybe switch things up a little bit.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Uh yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about on the releases. Um it's sad. It's always sad, but hopefully we move forward. We did get some good call-ups. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's
Do you
that.
think real quick? Do you think Grayson Waller's just like, what the fuck? I still have
Dude,
a job.
oh, that I was like, I that was the first thing I was like, oh crap, the New Day's gone. And then the
Yeah,
second thought
that was his
after that,
lifeline.
I was like, yeah, I'm like, oh, Grayson Waller's screwed. Like, damn.
Yeah. And I like
And
Grayson Waller. I actually do.
yeah,
Like I want them to do good things with him, but they're not doing anything with him. And yeah, New Day was his lifeline, and now he doesn't have that. So I think he's
yeah,
going to be in a real sink or swim quick situation because I mean they always make pretty big cuts right away after WrestleMania, but then they'll still make a few trickle releases afterward. If I were Grayson Waller, I'd be super nervous right now.
with you 100% on that, man.
Eh,
Like, I don't know how much longer he has there because he's a great wrestler. He has a great look
Yeah,
and he's funny as hell. Like he can act, he
absolutely.
can do the vignette. He's on paper, he's great. I don't think he'll ever be a main eventer, but are you telling me like you really don't see enough potential in this guy to at least put him in a like in contention for the mid card title picture? Like he's not even that to you? Because I could kind of
Yeah,
see it, like
no, I
I wouldn't be
agree.
mad at him having a small, United States run or something like that. Like I would be
I'd
fine with
love
that.
it. I'd love it.
But I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
think
you got to
that's ever
start
going to
building him back
happen.
up. Not in this trajectory.
No.
He's
And
doomed if they don't do something else with
immediately
him.
he comes back and he's out of the black. He's back in his neon and everything, right? Like
Hmm
that we saw on Raw.
He
He's
didn't
back
have
in
the
his
shorts
neon.
though. One thing I did notice
Oh, he
was
didn't have the shorts.
yeah,
Yeah, he
he
didn't.
was wearing tights, which I thought was different.
Yeah.
It
So,
didn't
but
look
I mean, he's
bad. It
back
was
to the
just
same
different.
colors and he's still kind of the same. He's the same Grayson Waller,
Yeah,
kind of thing. And now he's back to like, oh, cool. He's going to go be a mid card jobber
yeah.
for
Get
however
crushed by
long.
Obafemi.
Yeah. Until they decide, well, that's not worth it. Like,
Yeah,
and now that's a salary we can cut. I'm like, just cut him now. Give him the 90 days back and let him go work for AEW and make some money over there. Like, come on, man. If you're going to cut him, just do it. Just do it.
you
I
know
don't
what
want it,
crossed my mind
but
too is like with these cuts, and I'm glad they didn't do this. Don't get me wrong, but like if you were going to continue on like the Gunther ending careers, you could have just had
Mhm.
everybody you were going to release be like, hey, guess what? Your last match is against Gunther. He's just going to go on a tear. And if you don't win, you're done. And everybody just loses. And that's how they make the cuts, the Gunther
Jeez.
cuts. I'm glad
Oh
they didn't
man.
do that. But like,
Oh my God.
they could have done that.
It'd be like the opposite of like what? Like now they've made it so when Undertaker shows up, you're going, which I hate. I hate that, by the way. Like I get
Yeah,
it,
you're going in the
and I
Hall of
get that
Fame.
it's
Yeah.
Undertaker and stuff. Yeah, he shows up, you get the Hall of Fame and everything, whatever. But now every time you see Taker, you know that somebody's going to the Hall of Fame kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of sucks for the person too, because there's no surprise now. It's not like, oh, Taker came out and interrupted this person. What's going to happen? No, he's going to tell him to go in the Hall of Fame because, Taker's old and busted and he is
Yeah.
not there to wrestle, obviously.
Right.
So
Right.
that aspect I don't like. But I do think that that would have been absolutely hilarious if that would have been like, oh, you're wrestling Gunther. Oh
Yeah.
man, your pink slip will be waiting for you in your locker when you're done, like kind of thing. Like just
you,
ooh,
you too, Kyrie. I don't care if you're a 90-pound Japanese woman. You're going in the ring with Gunther.
man, that would it'd be so bad. Just so bad. Um, so yeah, it's a hard time of year, and there is a lot of fallout that happens from this, right? It's not just with storylines and people's careers and stuff, but then you know, people that were going to be getting into storylines or were actively in storylines with these people, like what happens there? In the case of Grayson Waller, like Asuka's going to be fine because she was the driving force in that whole storyline, but now there's that element that's not there anymore. So, you know, like that does have an impact on that story. Um, you know, the Wyatt Six, okay, we lost them. They weren't doing anything, but now, you know, that is another tag team that's gone out of the division. You know, Apollo Crews, that's another mid Carter that you could have in the rotation or, you know, to yeah, at least keep things a little fresh. Now you don't have that option. And I know, you know, you're going to bring up Ricky Saints and you just, you know, you brought up Ethan Page and everything like that, but still, that's not the same, you
And
know.
it scares me with Ethan
So,
Page already too that they're having him team up with Rusev.
oh yeah,
That immediately makes me nervous.
I hope that it's nothing. And realistically, out of the two of them, even if they bomb, they're not going to get rid of Ethan Page. I think they
I
will
hope
drop
not. I
Rusev.
love Ethan Page, but yeah, Rusev's another one they probably could have cut. But
Yeah, they'll. I
yeah,
feel like they'll drop Rusev long before they consider dropping Ethan Page. I think they have too much
probably
invested in him, and he's just too over. He's just too over,
he is, but
right?
I
Like
feel
you.
like the easiest way to kill that is to link him up with Rusev. So I'm hoping that that's just a real temporary thing.
Yeah, me too. I'm waiting for either him to turn on Rusev or Rusev to turn on him to take the number one spot for the IC title kind of thing. Like it works for now because we're both in the same level until one of us gets up, you know, starts climbing the ladder kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's
and
how I see that going.
that would be a good way to book it. Yeah, and if that is the case, I hope Ethan Page is the one who turns on Rusev because I don't really want Ethan Page as a face, and I don't really give a fuck what they do with Rusev at this point.
Yeah, that's true. Like I got excited when he came back, and then it was like the whole "I'm here to fix everybody" thing, and I'm like, this is stupid. I just want
Yeah.
Rusev to come in and crush people. Also, the crowd was treating Rusev Day like just let him chant Rusev. Bring back Rusev Day, man. That when Rusev was comedy, that was the best. I feel like
Well,
when
I've said this for a
yeah,
while. Like that's the only time Rusev has been over, and I attribute that to Aiden English because he's kind of the guy who was behind Rusev Day. He's the one who was always
that
chanting it, screaming it like
yeah.
that, and that's the only time he got over. That's really the only time Aiden English was over too, to be fair. But yeah, I think
Vaudevillains,
barring yeah,
man.
I like I said, but I don't know if you yeah I know really, um, but yeah I don't really know if Rusev could get over on his own.
No,
Um,
I don't think so, especially in this climate, because there's no, he's not a big, I mean, he's a big guy, but he's not the
yeah.
biggest guy anymore, you know, and he's not like, oh, there's a big guy that's super fast and agile. We have that now too, you know,
Well,
so
not
it's
yeah.
not
Now
even
you
like
have
he's just,
Oba and Royce Keys there, who are like the fresh,
yeah,
big, strong powerhouse dudes. You know what is Rusev necessary for? He
right.
doesn't really serve a
What
purpose.
Loba almost decapitated Otis on Raw. He
Yeah,
almost decapitated him with the spinning uppercut from halfway across the ring. I
another one very lucky to have a job still, by the way.
Yeah, no joke, dude. How did Akira, like, how did Tozawa freaking stay? I have no idea how he kept his job, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
honestly like. I think we talked about it last episode. Like those guys, I did not think that
you,
they would have jobs coming out of this.
yeah, I figured Alpha Academy was going to be gone, but
Hmm.
there they are. But yeah, like Oba can do that in the ring. He's 310 pounds, he's 6'3", and he's doing that. Like, what do I care if Rusev does a super kick? You know, that's not impressive anymore, like kind of thing. So Yeah, I don't know. They're really gonna have to do something with him to make me care. But
And
yeah,
I
I don't
can't
know. We'll
remember. Did
see
did
what
the
happens.
Creed brothers get released?
No, they were. Oh, okay. See, and this goes back into the whole like, can you release somebody and keep their alter ego? Because they were literally just on Raw as
No,
the
that's
the
right. That's right.
creator
Yeah.
that as the Hermanos Americanos or something like that. And I I it was weird. It was
Hmm.
weird. It was very much you could tell what it was. And it wasn't like the cheeky Chad Gable way where, allegedly, according to Michael Cole, um, you know, OG Americano is Chad Gable, which I want a DNA test because I don't believe you, Cole. Okay. That's obviously a different person. Chad Gable is injured right now. Um,
Yeah, he's
but
recovering
they
still.
took, yeah. So, but you have, but instead of that cheeky way that they're doing that, like you literally just put masks on the Creed brothers for one shot to take them out there and said, nope, they're luchadors now. They're totally different people. And I'm
Yeah,
like, I
we're not
understand what I'm
trying to book a
saying.
six-way match. Yeah.
I understand what I'm saying, and that it's the exact recipe of what they did. I fucking know that, people. Don't at
Yeah.
me or do. Again, I don't care. I will go heal my I don't care. Do it. Give me engagement. I don't care. Um it felt super forced in a way that wasn't the buildup that they had with Gable and everything going into this. And like there was no reason to do that other than to just bring them in. Also, it very much points at the fact of like, yeah, this is Chad Gable, right?
Right,
Because those
right.
are his
They're
boys.
they're kind
So
of peeling the
those are
curtain
his
back a
boys,
little too much.
which sucks because you know what that means? That means that on May 30th at the AAA event that I don't know the name of because I'm not into AAA and I'm sorry about that. Uh, that OG Americano is going to lose his mask. And that's how I feel is going to happen. And we talked about it a couple episodes. We said that out of the two, Chad Gable is more likely to be able to succeed without the mask than Ludwig is. Like we said that.
Mhm.
And it makes sense from that aspect, but damn, I love OG Americano, man.
It was a good era, and honestly, he was doing amazing with it until actually got hurt. But I hate to say it, allegedly Kaiser is just doing so much better. He
Yeah.
like well, I don't even know if I'd say better. He picked the ball up and he ran with it so well that it's become better. Um,
He took the ball and he made a new game with it. And you know what?
yeah,
New game slaps. I'm just gonna say
yeah,
that. The new game slaps. It just does.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's well enough for Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates to keep their job too. I mean, so he's doing well enough for that.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't like it, but it is what it is. And you know what? I'll be happy to get Chad Gable back. Honestly, if that's the case, I'll be
I
happy to
will
get
be
Chad Gable back. Allegedly, allegedly.
allegedly.
I think that seeing OG get taken down and demasked will be enough motivation for Chad Gable to come back and avenge um this luchador. And I think it'll give him the motivation to, get through his injury and everything to come back to the main roster is what I think
Yeah,
is what's going to happen.
I think so too. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
and that would be good. Let new Americano win, and then let
Mhm.
Chad Gable get the next win as Chad Gable,
Also,
allegedly.
this is the first time, and I know what I'm saying, and I know that we've been on Michael's journey for luchador or lucha libre now for a little while, guys. We started with that shit is boring and I hate it. And then we got to Michael's warming up to some luchadors. We're now at the point, guys, where I'm like, how do I watch this? How do I watch this AAA event? Because I want to watch Americano versus Americano mask for mask. Like I want to watch lucha. I'm
Yeah,
invested
wait,
now.
what is it on? Is it on YouTube?
I don't know.
I think
I
it
don't
might be
know.
on YouTube, but I'll have to look into that because I want to see that match too. I don't even know when that's coming up.
Yeah,
I just know that it's coming up.
it's May 30th. I'll tell you that. I was
Ah,
paying
Cinco
attention.
de
Yeah.
Treinta or whatever 30 is.
I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
I took Spanish in high school and college, and I don't speak Spanish either.
There we go. Google speaks Spanish for me.
That's right. That's right.
Poorly, but it does.
We're living in the future.
Um, but yeah. So that has been great. I'm glad to see that the Creed brothers are getting some time back or whatever. And it does make sense considering that you're gonna have to shake up the tag team divisions a little bit, right? Like you have to reinsert some new blood in there to make it relevant. Because let's all be honest, the tag team divisions aren't doing anything right now.
No, they're not.
Is what it is.
And again, with all the cuts they're making, getting rid of New Day, getting rid of Motor City, it doesn't really seem like they're going to be focusing on the tag teams anytime soon. Which I hate it because I do like a good tag team division. Part of me, especially like with this new TKO taking over, I kind of understand it a little bit because if you think about it, a tag match cost you double what a regular match would cost because you got to pay 4 people instead of 2. So when you have them as a tag team, you're really doubling the price for one product. So I understand why a company like TKO wouldn't like it. But also, like, when was the last time the tag team division was strong? I don't even know.
I'll I I will tell you it was back when New Day had the titles. That's when.
Yeah, yeah. New Day and Usos had really great rivalries.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for sure they carried that division for a while because the Usos are a great tag team too. Like you don't
They
see a
really
lot of it,
are.
even with them reuniting, you're not seeing a ton of it. But they're a world class tag team too.
I love all right, so I don't love, I hate, but I'm gonna be the sarcastic love the fact that they were coming out, they reunited and were still coming out to Jay's music, right?
Mm.
Then for one night, they changed the music to say it's just us, Oos,
Yeah, which is
right?
so dumb because they already had a song that was like the same song, and it sounds weird. It sounds dubbed over.
Yeah, and then they went and changed that back to it's just me, Oos. So they changed the song to be from Jay's music to be the same beat or whatever as the stat song that was dubbed over with it's just us, Oos. But then they took out the us part and then redid it's just me again. So now you have a dubbed over version of a dubbed over version of Jay's song as your walkout song for both of you.
I don't get it. Yeah, they're
I
they're
don't either. I'm just
they're
like,
being dumb
dude,
with that theme song.
yeah, they really are. It's like, dude, tell me Jimmy doesn't matter without telling me Jimmy doesn't matter, right?
No
Like,
kidding. No kidding. Who oddly
sucks,
enough had the
dude.
better theme song between the two too. When they went solo, like I actually liked Jimmy's theme better than the It's Just
Jimmy's
Me.
theme was good.
It
It
was
was really
good.
good. Like, I love yeeting. Don't get me wrong. I love yeeting. It's great.
Oh, you all day.
But yeah, but Jimmy's song was great.
It was. It
So
was. So what do you think about the bloodline sort of civil war going on here?
I think it's interesting that they're bringing in Solo into it a little bit.
I like
I
it.
don't know. I don't know what it does with the MFTs and decoupling and all that other stuff. Because realistically, they're anchors on Solo. Like, give something else to Solo if that's going to be the salvageable bit. Because if it's not like, I think like what it's him and Tonga Loa, right? Like, are the like
Him
Tonga
no, Tongalo is gone. He got axed. It's him and Tala
or was it
Tonga.
top? Or wait, did they get rid of Tama?
No. Tama was not released. He just hasn't been there yet. So what I think is going to happen is, so it's Solo and Tala Tonga now, and
Right.
I think that it's just those now, or at least they're kind of strongly hinting that. I think eventually Tama Tonga is going to come back in and almost certainly turn on Solo, probably pretty quick after whenever he does return.
That's what they were going
Um,
for, right? Like they were kind of like
they had been
leaning in that
teasing that for a
direction.
minute, but yeah, they released
Yeah.
JC Mateo and Tonga Loa.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, really,
Which
all you have
by
left now is Tala, Solo, and Tama. And like I said, Tama they've been teasing leaving anyways, or leaving that faction. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in the whole thing. Honestly, I think it's a pretty interesting kind of bringing everybody who's left back together.
All right. So we know that the likelihood of Jacob winning is not high, right? Because Roman just got it, and making Roman a transitional champion, it means that you're basically gonna Randy Orton him for this run, and then you're just counting title numbers, not actual like his reign, which you can be argued he had the most historic reign of the modern history. I get that. So maybe you do just go for raw number amount, of times you were
Mhm.
champion at this point. That could also be a valid strategy. Also, you could give this shine to Jacob and let him, run with the belt and stuff. Lord knows we all want it, right?
Yeah,
But I don't see Jacob winning.
I don't think there's a
So
world where
my
Jacob wins it. No, there's no way. I don't know if there's going to be
yeah,
shenanigans or what.
yeah.
Which
So
shenanigans would make it more interesting, but yeah, I
no,
don't think
it
there's
won't.
any world where it could, just because
No,
everything that's going on
no,
with these.
because then because then we're running it back to how the old bloodline was, and you can't market Roman as head of the table,
But
tribal
but
chief, all of that shit, and still have him need his little cousins to help get him out of a pickle every single time.
but here's the thing:
Can't do it.
you don't have to do it like that though, because now you have three different you have like a triangle thing going on with the bloodline. So you have the MFTs, you got Jacob, and then you got Roman and the Usos. So it doesn't have to come from the Usos. It could come from Tama Tonga. It could come from Solo or Tala. Like there's other ways for this match to get fucked up because they're all sort of doing their own thing. They're very divided as a bloodline right now. Now I'm not saying like this won't lead to a bloodline 2.0 thing, which I don't know how I feel about that right now either. I think it has potential, but I don't know that it would go anywhere well. But I think that you could have shenanigans where it's not the Usos, coming in for Daddy and trying to save him. So I don't know, but either way, I don't know, and I think that's going to happen whether it's good or bad because you don't want Jacob to look bad either.
No,
But
but
Jacob can't win this title right now. For one, he's too
that's
green, and two, this
I
title
mean
run
that's
is too
true.
green. Like for
Yeah,
for both of those reasons, I believe there's a 0% chance Jacob wins. So something has to happen, and I'm leaning a little bit
I
towards Tama because, and I don't know why, but Tama Tonga has been absent and he's not fired. So even if it's like, oh, maybe Solo comes in and he's going to do some shenanigans, and then Tama Tonga comes in, and then maybe he fucks up and he hits Jacob. And I don't know. You could do it a million different ways, but something's going to happen, and it's not going to be Jacob's fault, but Jacob's not going to win.
See, and for me, if you're gonna do some shenanigans, the best way to like it makes most sense to book it where you have shenanigans and that those shenanigans cost Roman the belt.
It's
Because
just
at
too
that
early
point,
for that, though.
Roman, yeah, but that's the thing though. Roman didn't lose. Whoever lost it for Roman lost, right?
I
So
get,
Roman
I
still
get it.
looks strong, and then Jacob still gets his win and his title run or whatever like that. I can see that being a case if the shenanigans were to happen. I know that's not going to happen, and Jacob's not going to win, and there will probably be shenanigans, and it's going to be in Roman's favor. I I hope it's a weird triangle thing, like you said, but I don't have faith in booking for them to book anything other than somebody comes to help Roman because daddy needs it. Um,
That's a fair criticism. I'm having, like I said, they've given me a little bit more faith, just enough faith to where I don't think they're going to have the Usos do it. But there's enough craziness going on right now where you can really, you could throw a dart and land on like how you can do this where the Usos don't um come to his aid. Or
yeah, that's true.
maybe like, but yeah, I mean there's going to be a lot of tribal fighting during this one-on-one match. I think everybody kind of gets involved in some way. Like I think the Usos will be involved, but I think it'll be probably coming to fight Solo and Talik once they come out, and
Yeah,
that's where things are going to get
I think
messy.
that's true. Yeah, I think stuff's just going to get chaotic or whatever
Yeah,
during it. And it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be like a bloodline rules match or anything like that where it's like no
Tribal
DQ.
warfare.
Yeah, or some weird shit. I don't know. But yeah, so my prediction is that they're gonna protect Roman, so that means Jacob's not gonna win. So my question then, which is literally what I have in the notes, I'm glad you said all of that stuff. Does Jacob join the bloodline after he loses to Roman?
So I think that I think the previous episode I was alluding to that being the case. I at this point now I don't think it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen down the line, but I think what probably happens, just from what we've talked out, is that shenanigans happen. Jacob turns his attention then to probably Solo, who maybe messes up the match, or somebody else. And then, it's still like you still keep on like the tribal civil war thing, but he's not coming after the title directly anymore. That's what I think probably happens. But yeah,
See,
I,
that's
I was
hard though. That's hard because if that's the case, then the entire premise of this whole build, right, has been I need that title. I need that for my family. So he goes in and loses one time and decides, yeah, you're right. I don't need that title, I guess. I'm just gonna go for a one-off with my other cousin, and we're just gonna, you know, play slap ass in the ring for a little bit while I figure out which mid card title that I want to go after next again.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's
I,
full
I
on
mean,
said, I need that title, and it
right,
just wouldn't make sense for him to just like, well, I didn't win the match. Now we're just going off. Like I don't see how
right.
that would make sense
And
in
based
the
on
long
that,
run.
it does make more sense for him to join because Roman's big thing early on in the bloodline was like, I'm putting food on your table. Like, I'm the tribal chief. We all come to eat when I'm at the head of the table. So I mean,
Mhm.
you could use that old but successful angle to get Jacob in, and maybe after this, you give him a rematch, and that's the ultimatum is like, okay, I'll give you one more shot, but if you don't lose, you're acknowledging me and you're joining the bloodline here. And
Kind of
and
kind of like one of those
I
like wow, how Jay
yeah,
did. It was like, oh yeah, Jay gets
yeah,
the same thing. Jay's
exactly.
gonna get a shot kind of
Exactly.
thing
I
while he
mean,
was still in the bloodline.
yeah, yeah. And I like I said, I like so far. I don't know where it goes. I certainly can't speak to that, but I do like where it's at right now. And I even like that even though he's not showing any love for the remaining MFTs, he is saying, you didn't do anything for me. Solo brought me in. Solo's the reason I'm here right now. He still gave him his props for that, which I do appreciate.
Y- Yeah, because it wasn't like the whole. Even though Roman's like, I run stuff. Who do you think told Solo to do it, or
Yeah,
who do you side off? I was like, well, you weren't. In if you look at it really at the storyline, Jacob doesn't see that. Jacob
uh,
sees the person who gave him the opportunity, which was Solo. It doesn't matter who was higher up. It doesn't matter who was the man behind, doing the puppeteering or anything like that. It matters on who the face was that said, "Hey, I'm bringing you in." So
exactly.
that
And if you're
I love that aspect of it that they're it's that raw thing of like Jacob might not be looking at this from an intellectual like let me look at all of the ways that the web spins out or anything. He is only looking at what's in front of him, and that's kind of his MO right now. And building into that character and building into that you're not ready, you're not thinking about everything about this business, that kind of stuff. It really like kind of like speaks to that.
and,
So
and honestly, he shouldn't because if you're a wrestling fan with memory, like he got brought in by Solo after Solo was already feuding with Roman. So Roman could say
yeah,
he signed off on it, but what sense would that even make for Roman to sign
yeah.
off on it? You're going to sign off on
And
a
all
guy who's going to somebody who you're rivaling with at the time? Doesn't make
and
sense.
also like you got dethroned. That was
Yeah.
after the fact that Roman got dethroned because that's when
Mhm.
Solo rose up to take over the bloodline, right?
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
so then Roman's out and he's all like, "Oh, I gave you guys 2 years head start." So you signed off on him while you were out for 2 years.
Yeah.
You left and then you signed off on him. Why wouldn't and sitting there like oh, I was here, grinding up here to make sure everybody had food and stuff. It was like, well, then why weren't you looking out for Jacob when he was down in the Indies and stuff like that too? Like, why weren't if he's sitting there saying he's been grinding, he's been broke, everything like that? Why weren't you there to pick him up at the same time? You're talking about all of the family and providing for all of the extended family and the 107 kids and everything like that. Where
Yeah,
does Jacob fit into that? Why weren't you helping Jacob then? You know, so
yeah,
there's a lot of nuance in this storyline, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm super
yeah,
looking forward to
absolutely,
this.
absolutely.
Um, is the 2.0, all right, so is the Bloodline 2.0 going to be any different than the Bloodline 1.0? Like, are we going to get to the point where we need to protect Daddy's belt?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it has to be the main objective to protect Daddy's belt. Because I mean, even though Roman isn't like a hard heel right now, he still is a soft heel. Um,
Yeah.
so I feel like he's closer to going that way than any other way. I I don't know, but honestly, I feel like we might differ on this. I wouldn't be mad if we got the Bloodline 2.0 where he reunited them. I don't know how successful that would be. I don't know what that looks like exactly. Besides, the remaining MFTs and Jacob coming into the Bloodline, but I mean, it would certainly be interesting, and if they could run with it, they could probably have another good run. I I don't know though. I kind of like what you were saying earlier. I have lost some trust in booking, even though they're slowly regaining my trust. They're not there yet. Like, you brought me down a lot with the WrestleMania build. You've gone up maybe a point or two, but I need a little bit more trust before I feel, a lot of confidence in how you're going to handle the bloodline coming back, because that's one of the best factions to me. Like, that's a top fiver for me. So I don't know what 2.0 looks like. I don't know how it goes, but if I had any power, which I don't, obviously, I'd sign off on it.
Okay. I would potentially sign off on it because the build right now looks slightly different than it did before. Um, but I'm very, very, very wary of this.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what you're doing. Maybe we can go out for coffee. Like this was an abusive
Yeah.
relationship.
A
We
little
have
bit, a
like
little bit.
we've taken our separation and stuff. And you know what? I'm not ready to just move back in. Maybe we can meet up for some coffee, talk about stuff, see how you're doing, get the vibe from there. But I'm not ready to move in yet. Like we're not just jumping back off to where we were, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that rough
That's how I
patch
look
was a
at it.
rough patch. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with you for the most part. But yeah, I mean, going back to it, especially because Jacob's gotten like over on Roman a couple times now, which again historically typically means that. And again, I was wrong. I was dead wrong about this with Brock, but typically when that happens, the person isn't going to win the match, and that's the same way I feel about Braun and Seth right now. Is Braun's destroying Seth, so I don't think Braun's winning that match, even though that would be huge for Braun.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And partially, I think it's because booking doesn't know what the hell they're going to do with that, which
Yeah,
sucks
I
because
mean,
then
but
it's like
Braun's another one
it's
who's still too
openly
green
admitting
too.
that you don't know what you're going to do with Braun. Like you don't
Yeah,
know what you're going to do with him. So, oh, we're just going to go in there and feed him to Seth to boost Seth up right now, but not realizing that it's like, well, then what the hell are you going to do for Braun because that's going to bring him down a little bit. And
yeah, I
if you don't have a plan, what the hell are you going to what goes from there?
it makes more
So,
sense for Braun to win, especially because he has a heel faction behind him. So you can
yeah.
do it where Seth doesn't look terrible, but also Seth is a major star in this company, and I think best case you could have Braun win, but then you kind of have to do 50-50 booking because you can't have Seth just go out on that L. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you play that one, but yeah, I kind of
The
feel
exchange
like
between
good.
go ahead, sorry.
No, no, no. I was pretty much just saying like, you can't have Seth just lose that match and then go off. Like, especially with the way Seth's character is like he kind of has to see it through. He has to get his, he has to get his in, or it's not. We're not moving on from it.
Yeah.
And that's Seth as a face
I
or a heel.
Yeah, no, for sure. I loved that exchange between them though. That was heated and it was
Yeah.
glorious. It felt real. Like
Oh,
they
absolutely.
both were. I will give it to Braun. He has stepped his game up on the mic
He's
and
improving.
even in the ring. He has been
Yep.
better in the ring. He still no sells more, way more than I would like, but he is a lot better than he was a year ago, even let alone the 2 years or whatever. So I'm mad props to for the dude to putting in the work. But that stuff that he was saying is like, yeah, you are the best, the best in the world and the best wrestler and everything like that at being the second best wrestler. That was like, damn, damn,
Yeah.
dude. But
Yeah.
then when Seth dropped out and it's like, you're not even number two in your own family,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that was good.
I my jaw dropped, dude. That was so good. That was so good.
That was great. It was
Oh,
absolutely great. But yeah, I think Braun's got a ton of potential. Like I said, I think he's another one who's still too green, but he's showing all the potential and making all the improvements that you want to see at this stage. I think they still need to change his name back to Braun Steiner. Um, I'm
yeah,
surprised they
right?
haven't done it yet because they openly acknowledge it now. Like at first they weren't really
Yeah.
acknowledging it. At this point, everybody knows. Just change it to Braun Steiner, man. That's wrestling has more than one royal family, right? Like the
Yeah.
Steiners are one of them.
I mean, when you're sitting there, like when Seth's openly like saying like, "Oh, did you need some extra help?" quote unquote from Big Papa Pump, and
Yeah,
then like calling him Baby Steiner, like, come on, dude, like
yeah, great
you're
stuff.
acknowledging all of the bad and the like the origins of you, like they're openly doing that, like you said. So just freaking do it, man. You
I
change
agree.
everybody's name anyway. Just because he's not Asian doesn't mean that you can't change his name.
Yeah,
They do it to every Japanese star coming up from NXT.
they do. They pretty much do. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than that, what else do we got? We got Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. I think we both.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a thing, like whatever. I don't move
It,
Sammy to
it'll.
the main event picture, dude. That's all I
Yeah,
care about. Like I don't
I agree. I don't see
feed
Sammy
feed
like
trick other
getting it back.
people. Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes no sense to me. We got Tiffany as the new champion, which yeah, it needed to come off of Julia, but that's not Julia's fault. Julia is she, they weren't doing anything with her.
I know. I think
Kind of
Julia should start
like
getting
Jay,
scared
right?
too. Because yeah,
I know, and it sucks because in that match, Tiffany is not on the same. It showed, and I understand that she is a Money in the Bank winner. She's a former world champion. She beat
she's got a
Charlotte at
lot of ring rust
WrestleMania.
too.
All of that fun stuff. Yeah, she was not on the same level as Julia in that match.
No,
She was not. It was
Julia's
it was
very
not the
talented.
best performance. Yeah, it
But yeah,
just
she's getting surpassed by that girl whose name we always blank out on.
no.
Her
Oh, son of it starts with a K. It was
I
Kiana
know it
James.
does. Kiana James, yeah,
Oh,
she's getting passed up by Kiana James, man. And honestly, I'm not.
yeah.
I like Kiana James for multiple reasons, but she's got a lot of potential now. I think that she can move up. I don't think she's going to beat Tiffy right now. Again, just because the title reign's too early, I wouldn't hate it, but Kiana James is certainly surpassing Julia, and I like I said, I have mixed feelings about it because I like Kiana James, but yeah, Julia I really like too. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
seems like they don't really know what to do with her.
Yeah. I want them to give her somebody worthy of her, essentially. And I know that sounds like so egotistical or whatever, but it's like, no, put her in the ring with somebody as technically sound as her and see what happens. It's like kind of one
Yeah,
of those like when you got to watch Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk kind of things, like
yeah,
just put them in there and let them cook. Let them see just see what happens. And
yeah,
I think that we could get some bomb ass matches if that was the case, but they're not willing to do that, like I don't know. I don't know where she goes from here and stuff, but I super love her and she's great in the ring. I just like how what do you do with her? Like you said, when your sidekick is now outshining you
yeah,
and you got the title stripped from you by somebody who obviously is not as talented as you are. So, like what happens?
yeah. Yeah. Who do we think some predictions for Danhausen's partner are?
I don't I don't fucking care. That dude can do no wrong.
I agree.
I I love Danhausen. I love Danhausen. I was not familiar with Danhausen. Full stop. I didn't really understand him when I was watching AEW for a little bit. Um, when they brought him in, his reception was lukewarm at best, and I was like, "Why?" And then they put him on
It's just because
TV,
everybody.
and
It's just because everybody thought it was going to be Jericho. Like that was a bad setup.
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Now I know. After seeing him on TV, now I know everything he does is gold. His vignettes, fantastic. That whole thing where they did the tail of the tape for his match.
Hmm.
Uh, oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. It's like, yeah, Miz has never been on a blimp. Like, just I feel
No,
I've been
him and
so
Miz are
happy
doing
watching
good
him.
work right now.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's like our truth. I don't care who he wrestles. I don't even care if he wrestles. I just want to see him on TV. That's it. He could spend the rest of his career never really stepping foot into the ring, and I still wouldn't be mad at it as long as he was on TV. Like
I agree.
I'm
I agree.
over. I'm for it. I'm for it.
I've
Uh
got two predictions on his tag partners. Two.
I I look, one more thing. I think The Miz was the perfect person for his storyline coming in,
Absolutely.
right? I think
Absolutely.
they could not have picked better than The Miz because he is so good at the backstage stuff
Yeah.
and like storytelling in the ring and everything like that, and just like giving it literally his all for this. Being on the other side of Danhausen, who's like this obvious ridiculousness, right? Is like
He's
being
a
on the opposite
cartoon.
end of truth. And it's like interacting with a cartoon. And he does it so flawlessly that it's it's I already loved The Miz, and this is just another reappreciation of what he's capable of. And I'm for it. I'm so here for it.
So
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I
And
don't
honestly,
know.
I've even come around to liking Kit Wilson with the Miz a lot.
Yeah,
I love them together.
giving Kit Wilson some shine on this to where he gets to interact with this instead of just being this mid card heel that comes out, screams toxic, and then gets his ass beat. Like he's been in this storyline and stuff, and seeing him like interact within the bounds of that storyline and stuff. It's been great. Like I've had a new appreciation for Kit Wilson for sure. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know who Danhausen's tag partner is going to be. I honestly have no earthly idea. I
So
think it's
I
either going to be a legend or it's going to be a call up, is what I think is going to happen.
fair enough. Fair enough. So my first prediction is CM Punk because I don't think anybody would see it coming. They have history from AEW. I believe they're like real life friends. Um, and I think that Punk's got some downtime here after WrestleMania. I think that'd be a good way to come back and nothing that he's going to be stuck to.
Okay.
Um,
I'm
I
not mad
also
at
think
that.
I also think there's a chance it could be Elton Prince. Now, he's been out for a long time. I believe he broke his neck, right, in a match. Um,
I don't know. I don't know
but it, yeah,
what happened.
I'm pretty sure he broke his neck in a match, and they so so yeah, Elton Prince. He's been out. He's been out for what, 9 months now. It's been a long time. So I feel like they didn't medically retire him. He should probably be around that time where he can get back in. So, and that would be interesting because it kind of loops the story back. And that, or he interferes in the match and he joins up with Kit and The Miz, which I wouldn't hate at all either. But those are my two predictions, just in case one of them come true. I just want to put that out there.
I mean, that would be a thing. Yeah, it looks like he had a 2 level neck fusion surgery.
Okay.
And that was
Um,
in May, last May.
while you're looking stuff up, what's the
Yeah.
average healing time on that? What's the recovery time?
You know, let me see. I'm looking it
Yeah.
up. In the meantime, yeah, who's the other one that you are? So, do you
No,
have any others?
that's it. That CM
Who's
Punk
just
and Elton Prince are my two big ones. Um, you see a lot of people kind of throwing names out there on social media, none that I really like. You see like Joe Hendry, R-Truth, Mr. Iguana, Royce Keys, um, Jelly Roll. You even get a lot of John Cena, which obviously I think there's no chance of that. But the other ones don't really make a lot of sense to me. And like I said, CM Punk might not make sense either. But like I said, it's a little bit of an AEW callback. I think there's enough there. And like I said, Punk, that'd be a good way for him to come back and not get stuck. So I think that that's a real possibility. And if it is Punk, I really still hope we get Elton Prince to run some shenanigans and have him group up with the Miz. I would like it. But yeah, and then you can keep that feud going, which this is one of those times where I wouldn't be mad about that either.
yeah, I mean, former tag partner against tag partner, like that always works out, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
they held I believe they've held the NXT championships twice and the UK championships as well. So I mean, they're they're pretty established outside of the WWE with that resume too. So yeah,
yeah.
we'll see.
It looks like 9 to 12 months
Okay,
between
all right,
before they're fully cleared. So it lines up. It lines up where the possibility
all right.
um
So we'll
happens.
have it
So
on
that
watch.
that could very much be it. Yeah, for sure. I think Mr. Iguana would be too much with
I think so
Denhausen.
too.
I think Joe Hendry just doesn't fit, especially with him kind of getting into it with just getting on Raw and stuff. Um, so I think they're gonna go a different direction with that. Uh, I like, I kind of like the CM Punk thing because it would just be a swerve. And if Elton Prince comes back, I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. That would work and be a great way to reintroduce him back in. So I think that would be the leading bit. I'm gonna put my
Yeah.
eggs in that basket.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I'm good with that.
okay. So moving on to our favorite championships, the women's tag titles. How soon after Nikki's rolled ankle is recovered that they turn on Paige and force her to give the belt to Nikki?
Well, I guess that's a great. I assume they probably would do it with Nikki turning on, or them turning on Paige in a match where then they lose the titles, and then you could have, I guess, Nikki and her go for it after. But I don't know. That whole mess is. You could do something with it, and I think that you will see them do something with it. But I don't really know if it's going to be worth a shit or not, because again,
Not
the Bellas are
It's the
involved, so
Bellas. No, yeah, it's the Bellas. Nobody gives it. Dude, okay, so on SmackDown, when they came out, Brie, who's the current champion, fun fact, we all know this. She had the win at WrestleMania and everything like that. She is the champion. She mentions her sister and got nothing from the crowd. She mentioned Nikki. They mentioned Paige. It's okay. They give a little bit of hoot and holler or whatever. Brie mentions Nikki and they went absolutely mild. There was nothing, no reaction whatsoever, which just tells me that they don't care,
no, they
much
don't.
like us.
They
So
don't.
I'm like,
That was for
cool.
WrestleMania pop. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, great. Freaking have them out, put them out to pasture, and we're done. And then do whatever you're going to do with Paige until you decide that you can't book her properly and she doesn't really fit into the current landscape and you release her again. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we know that's
Probably.
what's going to happen, right? Like,
Right. Right. But is it going to be a year? Is it going to be 2 years? That's where we don't know. But she's
I think,
destined to float.
I think Paige is going to float for about a year. And this time next year, she'll be released. If not, I don't give her two. I say a year, year and a half, and
Yeah,
then she'll
I'm
be
not sure
released.
she
I just
signed for
don't.
it, but I'd be
I
surprised if it was a multi-year deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know where, like, I don't know where she fits in. That's the problem. Is like, don't know where she fits in either skill wise or just in general in this women's division. Like, unless she picks up somebody and they can make a convincing tag team, I really don't know where Paige fits in. And it sucks because I like Paige, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be just a hopeful optimist and say that, you know, Paige is here and, has a spot. I know I see the roster, I see what's going on TV and stuff like that, and I see the skill levels. You just brought up Sol Ruka. You're telling me that
Mhm.
Paige is gonna fit in the same realm as that,
Yeah, yeah. And,
like kind of thing?
to me too, Paige has always been somebody who's been missing something in her character that I've never really gotten into. Now I get it.
Yeah.
She's got a pretty big following. She's got loyal supporters. The IWC loves her. I understand that, but
Yeah.
there's never been a point where I've been real in on Paige either. So I didn't really
Yeah.
care when she went to AEW. I didn't really care when she came back to WWE. Like I said, it was an interesting little pop moment. I'm not going to take away from that. I'm happy for Paige for sure. Like just because I'm not into the character does not mean I'm not happy for the person. But yeah, I don't really know
Yeah.
how much you can
100%.
do with her.
No, 100%. And like I said, I enjoy Paige. I actually do enjoy Paige. I like watching her wrestle. I like her style. Um, it's a really nice um it's a really nice mix of like American and British like technical wrestling with like a
Hmm.
little bit of brawling like mixed in or
Yeah,
whatever. It's an
yeah, yeah,
interesting style. I actually really do enjoy watching her. The problem is that while she's been gone, there's
yeah,
been a lot that has happened, and now we have a completely different landscape than it was when she left.
yeah. It's a different
And
era.
even and that's and that's even like not even talking about the Divas era. That's when she came back for her brief, couple of years after, her neck got cleared and she's able to come back. It's still like she floundered because she didn't have a place. I don't see how that's gonna change.
No,
Like
neither do
I
Neither do
really
I.
don't see how that changes at all. So I don't know where she fits in. I hope that she does. I wish her all the best, but I don't see it is the problem. It's like trying to say like, oh yeah, Aleister Black's really gonna get off this time, like we
Yeah,
know that's not gonna
yeah.
happen. So
Yeah, and you're right. That's pretty much kind of the same idea. Is that and I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what you do with her. I agree, but yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
it
we'll
it
see.
sucks. It sucks.
At least she'll have
Uh,
this. She'll have a little bit of interesting storyline time, which
yeah,
Axo Facto will give the Bellas some interesting story time, and I know that's what they want, which is fine. I guess if you're going to bring these quote unquote legends back, you don't want them to have a totally empty-handed run, and you could generate some decent story at least temporarily out of this. So we'll see.
maybe the maybe creative will get their nostalgia boners and they'll just start pushing the an AJ Page storyline. So they
Hey, hey,
just
there you
watch
go.
A- AJ Lee and Page run it back like they did freaking 12 years ago or
Yeah,
whatever.
no kidding. Yeah, yeah.
Um yeah, the okay, so my next bit is actually about call-ups that happened. Do you think it was the right call for them to call up all of Fatal Attraction or Fatal Influence instead of just JC Jane?
Yes, and I understand the argument against it, but they work really well together. You know, she was really good when she was in what was it, Toxic Attraction, Mandy's faction, but like she
Hmm.
really got to main event status with this faction, and I think they've done, from what I've seen in NXT, they've done really good work together. Um, you just have to push them, and that's something that booking fails to do sometimes when you call groups of people up. You've seen them fail before. You've seen them fail with Sanity. You've seen them fail with the Iconics. So I hope that when you call up somebody good in NXT, you have to have an idea for them. I just hope they have an idea for them. So far, it looks like it's got potential, and I hope it does because I like them. I think that they're good.
Yeah, no, same here. Also, RIP to the Iconics. I loved them. They were
Yeah,
fantastic.
they were fantastic, and I was really bummed because I liked them a lot in NXT. I was really bummed when it was pretty short lived because they had them come in strong on the main roster. I think they beat up Charlotte
Yeah,
Flair like night one, and then yeah, they took the foot off the pedal pretty quick.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It
And
was.
yeah, RIP to the fact that they were released. Not that they're dead or anything. Just
Yeah,
in
yeah,
case
yeah.
that's a thing.
Sanity
Like,
too, man.
guys,
Sanity was so good in NXT. Like Sanity was great
yeah,
in NXT, and they had a banger of a
yeah.
theme song. It was just so cool. I love Eric Young. It was just a cool faction, and yeah, they just dropped the ball hard on them. That sucked.
They just don't know what to do. And it's like
Yeah,
creative doesn't know. It's like, yeah, we're going to call these people up that are popular. And then we're just going to continue the storylines that we were focusing on beforehand and not interject them at all.
yeah,
We're not going to
yeah.
write anything new for them. And it just, they're going to fade off into existence and be like, oh, well, I guess they weren't ready. And it's
Yeah,
stupid.
it
Um,
can be.
So with Fatal Influence, it was interesting because much like the them sacrificing the pops for WrestleMania viewership, I guess, right? Like for like we said, they're giving away the demon and stuff early on.
Hmm.
Uh they just had Fatal Influence come out and start beating the hell out of the girl, like the women in the match, in the tag match.
Yeah, yeah,
So why wouldn't you do that when you're going to have JC booked to come out later to answer the open challenger thing or whatever it was, right? Like you
yeah.
have her booked to come out. Why not just save them for that so you get the pop? I don't
That would have been the
understand,
smarter way to go. That definitely would have been the
right?
smarter way to go.
Yeah, because it doesn't even seem like you're putting them into, like, it would have made sense if they did it and they're interjecting themselves into a storyline right away, right? Like it's like, okay, cool. You're giving up the pop, but you're gonna put them right there, hit the ground running into a major storyline. That's forgivable. I can see that working out, right? That makes sense. But the way they did it was just like, hey, we're gonna come in, beat people up so we can show that we're here. And so that I have a talking point in my next thing about you saw what we did to Charlotte. Now I'm what I'm gonna do to you, kind of thing. It's like just save it, just save it, save the pop, have them come out, and then have them spend the next 2 to 3 weeks beating up people on the sidelines and backstage like you normally do with a heel faction or whatever.
Yeah, and that goes back to,
So I,
you have to have a really well thought idea when you're going to call people up, especially in groups. So, yeah, they kind of
yeah,
dropped the ball a little bit on that one. I do like them all being brought up together, but yeah, you're right. They probably could have had a better idea or given a little bit more thought to that beforehand.
yeah, I creative, just do better, man. Come on,
Do
just
better.
be
Do
better.
better.
Just do better.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. We'll have to do a we'll have to update our power rankings after Backlash, kind of see where we're at
yeah,
after that. But
100%.
yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued about this PLE. I think it's going to be decent. I have my hopes up again, which I'm afraid to say just because of the lull we've been in. But
Yeah.
I want
This
to
was a
believe.
long one, man. This was a long one, and it was
Yeah.
hard. I think it was especially hard considering that it was leading up to WrestleMania. So what arguably is supposed to be the most exciting time of the year for us,
Hmm.
literally was it was just the worst.
Yeah. Even
And
the
then
Rumble was
what
lackluster.
yeah, and it wasn't even like it paid off in the end. Like, oh, we were all totally wrong or anything. No, WrestleMania sucked. Like it was mid.
It was mid.
So
It was mid.
yeah, so I'm like it the lead up, the show was everything that the lead up promised it would be, which is
Yeah.
super unfortunate. And now
Yeah.
you have to rebuild from that.
Yeah, because
Which
WrestleMania
I mean,
can't be okay. It's built to be a show that if it's not really good to great, it's a failure.
exactly, exactly. If it's
Backlash could
yeah,
be okay.
exactly. Backlash could
Survivor
be okay.
Series could be okay.
Yeah, even
The
like
I feel like
you
the
can have
Rumble
the
and
Rumble.
Mania have to be the good ones. The Rumble I think has
Yeah,
to be good because that's really like
it
it.
has to be
It's not just
good.
my
I wouldn't
favorite
say it
pay per
has to
view.
be great. It
Yeah,
has to
that's
be
fair.
good.
That's fair because it's really like the first, like that's when you're turning onto the road to WrestleMania. So I
Yeah,
think it does
yeah,
have to be good, and really like it sets a precedence for how the road to WrestleMania is going to be.
yeah,
That's and like I said, it's not just because it's my favorite pay per view, but like that one is an important one. So yeah, I mean, we didn't have a very good Rumble, and sure as shit, it led into a not a not very good WrestleMania. And like I said, anything less than very good to great for WrestleMania is a fail, and that's what it was.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I am looking forward to Backlash. I do have hope again,
Mhm.
I guess. I
They're
just
kind of
it
making us believe.
Yeah, kind of making us believe. It's just again, it's we're coming out of an abusive relationship and like, you know what? I'm willing to get coffee with you, but I'm not giving you,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not giving you my new phone number kind of thing. Like
yeah. Yeah.
it's
We'll
that,
we'll catch up. We'll see. We'll
Well,
see how you're
yeah,
looking,
we'll see what happens. We'll find
and you
out and
better come in
everything.
hot.
You better come in hot, dude. Damn, man. You owe us. You
Yeah.
owe us on so many fronts, dude. On
Hmm.
so many fronts, you have screwed us over, WWE. You fucking owe us.
I agree.
So yeah. Yeah, so next time we'll have updated power rankings for you guys. We'll cover how Backlash went and look at, storylines that are coming out of that and potentially into the next one. Because I don't know what comes after that. We have like two more before SummerSlam, right? Or is SummerSlam in
Uh,
June?
I think SummerSlam might be in June. That would be a very summery month.
I mean, yeah. Also, oh, it's in August. Okay.
Oh, is it? I thought Money in the Bank was
Yeah.
in August. I don't know why. When's Money in the Bank?
Let's see.
August is also a very June month, though. Or August is also a very summer month, a very June month.
That is true. It's a very June month.
It is a
Um,
very June month.
September.
Okay. All right. Okay.
September, Money in the Bank, August, SummerSlam. So yeah, we have what, June, July. So two more
Mm.
PLEs to build up to SummerSlam, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, right into Money in the Bank, which is going to be arguably more important than SummerSlam, just considering what the prize is at the end of that. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. I think they can do some good stuff and keep us invested.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how SmackDown goes here Friday, and then we'll have
Hmm.
the PLE, and we'll be back at you guys next week to let you know what we liked, and as you're well aware, what we didn't like. So we
Yeah.
shall see how it goes.
And guys, just as a PSA, we're not trying to be negative. There
No, we're
wasn't a whole lot of positive that happened during the build up to WrestleMania and stuff. And I know that we're hypercritical, but realistically, like it really was, at least speaking for myself, it was that time of year in which everything should be pristine in our
yeah.
business and it should grip you. And having it that lackluster was really, really hard.
I think we
And
call it
I
fair.
really, I really don't want to be negative about this. I love pro wrestling and I love everything that happens with this um in this business. Uh I I want to be so positive. I want to love everything. I know
Mhm.
that's not always possible. Like it's never going to be possible. You're never going to love everything that's going on. But I want to, and I want to be a positive person about this. They just haven't given anything to be positive about. So, sorry for being so negative about stuff. I can't promise that it will get better because if they don't give us better stuff to be positive about, then we can't be. We're not going to be sunshine and rainbows for you just for the sake of it. But
It's make
you
believe
know,
world though. We're not talking about foreign policy. We're not talking about politics. We're talking about
it's
make
true.
believe pretend stuff. We keeps it kayfabe, but also like
Yeah,
this isn't serious stuff. Like so yeah,
yeah,
when we like it, when we love it, when we hate it, you're gonna know about it. We call it like we see it. We're long time wrestling fans, so we've seen all the peaks and valleys for the last 4 or 5 decades. Like yeah, I mean
yeah.
I started watching like 89, so like when I was 4 years old. So like I'm like you, I've been watching for a long time. I've seen a lot of eras, I've seen a lot of great things, I've seen a lot of shitty things, and yeah, this is just basically our platform where we talk about it. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna have fun with it, trust me. Like we're not taking it as serious as it can be perceived sometimes, but yeah, like, we can't pretend something is enjoyable when we're not enjoying it. You'll know exactly how we feel about it. We keeps it real.
I will say that that is true. Love it,
Mm.
hate it, or just about it.
Mhm.
we will always be honest with you. You will always get our honest reactions about this stuff. So there is that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll always keep it real with you.
Mhm.
So yes, that is I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this episode. We will see you next time. So for everyone here at Make Us Believe, which is essentially the two people that you are listening
Mhm.
to, I am Michael.
And I'm John.
Do not stop believing, guys.